Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of A Chat with a Camel. And I tell you, you know how much I love entrepreneurs. I love businessmen that go out there, walk on the skinny branches, and do amazing things. Well, today, we've got a superstar from the UK. Now, what is it about this? This man's a serial entrepreneur. Let me tell you some of the things he's been involved in. He's been involved in pubs. He's been involved in recruitment agencies. He's been involved in fitness. He's been involved in super fast exotic cars. And we're going to make sure we don't talk about that because him and I will go completely off track. But now what he's involved in is something called Glam. And that is the place, like it's taken off all over the planet. It's for those people that want to get involved in digital agencies. It's the fastest growing franchise on the planet. And that's because he's really good at what he does. I've seen this guy's operation, his back end, and even me as the camel, and I thought I was good. I'm impressed. So I want to introduce you to Grant Stone, who's becoming a really good mate of mine. And he's going to share with us some wonderful things today. I'm going to pick his brain, talk about back in the day, talk about the future, and we're going to share some magic things with you. So, Grant, welcome to A Chat with a Camel, mate.
Thanks, buddy. Absolute pleasure. Loving your energy.
Oh, thank you, mate. Soon the drugs will wear off in about half an hour. Then I'll go.
You're just high on life, mate. High on life.
Oh, mate, I've got to be high on life. If I breathe, then I feel good. And I love to see that, mate, you're walking the talk, you're wearing the T-shirt. You'll notice I've got on a camel T-shirt, not. But I do have the pictures everywhere, including the full life-size model of Jeffrey the Camel.
I thought I recognised him.
What we do to start it off is probably just to get a bit of background back in the day, where you were born, where you grew up, a little bit of what mum and dad did, if mum and dad were around, and all that sort of stuff, because it tends to build a little bit of where your culture comes from. So if you want to do that, the life of Grant for 5.
Well, I'm a Brummie, born and bred. So Birmingham. So most of the time, to get people orientated when you're listening from around the world, if you've seen the Peaky Blinders,
yep,
that's where we're from, right in the middle of Birmingham. In fact, my granddad was probably one of those. Wow. I'm a born and bred Brummie, and so I grew up in Birmingham. And my kind of background, my dad was a business owner. He was in the building trade, and he always said to me, "You're never going to come into my business. I don't want you in my business." Because he said it's too hard, and there's got to be easier ways of making a living.
Yeah.
But I did have the entrepreneurial bug right from a very young age. So, and graphic design was my thing. So, designed my first logo when I was 7 years old.
7
that got actually used. Yeah. I'm still proud of that logo. It's still a good logo. Yeah. And then, but I was one of those rare kids that I always knew exactly what I wanted to do. Like from the age of 7, if you said, I either want to be an astronaut, obviously, which is still on the cards, or I want to be a business owner.
So
because I was sort of creative in nature, it was really straightforward for me. I got the exam results that I needed to go to college, do 2 years at college in graphic design. And then I did my degree in graphic design. The whole time I was at university, I was telling the lecturers, I'm just doing this so I can get a bit of experience, start my own business. That's all I ever wanted to do. That's it. Yeah. Yep. So I did freelance work for a while, but interestingly, I tell this story to the people that I talk to who are thinking of starting their own business. I was, absolutely born and bred entrepreneur, but I still didn't start my kind of full-time entrepreneurial career till I was 29.
29.
Yeah, I had loads of false starts along the way. Mainly because I got myself into a business where they offered me, sort of directorship and shares in the business. And so I got sucked into that for a while, thinking, I'm kind of running my own business.
Yep.
But it was I was, the day I started my own business, a lot of people say it's the most stressful thing you ever do. It was like a sigh of relief.
Serious.
Yeah, oh God, I find it so much less stressful running my own business than working for somebody else.
So, but what parts of it do you consider so stressful? Because everyone worries about paying the bills.
I'd love to psychoanalyze this. I think I'm one of those guys that if you ask me to do something and I say I'm going to do it, you know, I feel it's my moral obligation to do it. Yep. And if I don't get that done, then I'm going to feel really bad and try really hard to make up for it. You know, I talk about this a lot in business coaching as well. You know, there's kind of a predisposition for people to be quite flaky. You know, they'll book appointments and won't turn up, and you know, they're kind of, and when they don't turn up, they don't make a big deal out of it. They think it's just, oh well, you know, we'll book another one, that kind of thing. I've never been like that. I've always been, I think my parents drilled this one into me. So you got to be reliable first and foremost. So when I'm working for somebody, I feel seriously obligated to get them a return on their investment, to work my absolute socks off to deliver for them. And that was really stressful because I was accountable to somebody else.
Yeah.
As soon as I became accountable to me, it was like the pressure went.
Did that help you perform more, easier?
It's an interesting question. I kind of hit the ground running when I started my own business. Never occurred to me not to work like a maniac. You know, I slept in the office many nights, you know, working. When I first started in business, you know, internet was in its infancy. I set up a digital marketing agency before there was such a thing, really. You know, nobody knew what digital marketing was when I set that up. And so, but I was the sales guy. You know, I was the, you know, the washing up guy. I was the cleaner, and I was the graphic designer. So I did all the graphic design as well. I did everything. You know, I did set up with a business partner, incidentally, when I first set up.
Yes.
That's another story, but that lasted about 11 months. Before it was, I just realized that for me, having a business partner wasn't great.
Was that not, it wasn't the full entrepreneurial bit because you still had someone you were accountable to?
Yeah, I still find, I mean, I've got business partners now that I do play nicely with. But Blam is entirely mine, and that's the way I love it. You know, I've done the business partner thing. I've had multiple business partners in businesses, and there's always friction. I don't know whether you've had that, mate, but
I've got one major shareholder, and I've got a board of directors who I've known all of them for 35 years, right? And I'm the major shareholder, and all they help me with, because I'm not a good money person, right? I'm good at making money, but I'm not a good, I'm an accountant's nightmare. I'm a typical bloody salesman, right? And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be, you know, rich and famous. You know what I mean? That my dad always taught me, he said, get a good accountant, a great lawyer, one pharmacy, one doctor, and one wife.
Right? Good advice.
I didn't do the one wife bit. I was a bit of a bad boy, but the rest of them, I've stuck to that all the way through. Oh, and one bank manager, right? And here, even our bank manager is like my best friend, because you know when you get those times where you might need a little bit of hangover cash, right? And you can go to them if they know you, and you know they'll give you a loan without security, and they'll do this and they'll do that. The lawyer will always save your backside. The accountant will keep you on the straight and narrow. And the pharmacy is there when you need drugs to keep going. You know what I mean?
And that's how you run a business, guys.
It's the way it is. But I think you've nailed it on the head that a lot of us don't play well with certain people. Like, you know, when I was selling for a company, the accountant was my bitter enemy because he wouldn't let you do deals, and he wouldn't let you wheel and deal, and he wouldn't do this and he wouldn't do that. And he'd always hammer you for your expenses. And I hated those blokes, you know, whereas the ones I've got now, it's what do you got to do a deal? They'll bend it, they'll shape it, and away you go. But I'm still the major decision maker. And I think that's the difference.
Yeah. And interestingly, I've got involved in a business in the last couple of years. And when we set up in business, the business partner was, let's do 50-50.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you have 51, I'll have 49. And ultimately, what you say goes, because if we're equal and we've got a difference of opinion, and I said, and so I said, look, I'll give you my opinion, we'll be a partnership.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, if we get a disagreement, then your vote carries. And I'm happy with that.
Yeah. You're happy with that?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah. Well, it's not my main business. Well,
okay.
So it's not Blam, but so, yeah. But it's
Blam's not like that though.
So no, Blam's just me. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I can understand it. It's like with my wife, she's the 51, I'm the 49. Because
that's obviously because she's in charge.
She's in charge, mate, because I'm bloody useless.
Happy wife, happy life, mate.
Yeah, mate. If I get $10, I'll spend 9.
Right? Yeah, I'll spend 11.
and I'd have a garage full of motorcycles, Hang on, I've got to stay away from that because we'll talk all bloody day long. So you got to that point where, did you realise that you're just a bloke, you can't work for anyone, you have to keep down this?
Yeah, I mean, and I always knew that. I mean, the difficulty I had when I was in my 20s was that, I say a difficulty, is that I worked for a great company with a great group of guys who were all my best friends.
Yeah.
And they were awesome. And so, although I did have a couple of false starts with businesses in my sort of mid-20s, where I was freelancing and I had my side gig, they basically set up a separate company for me to get involved in, where I had shares in it. But I kind of realized, and I kind of pushed that further than it was, but I just came to the point where I just knew, I had to do it on my own. And I was 20 and I left it too late. And as I say, I use this story a lot because I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs that, keep pushing it down the road, keep saying, yeah, I'm going to do it next year. I'm going to do it in a couple of years' time. And I did the same. And when I started running my own business, I don't know whether you had this. One of the biggest shocks to me was, once you remove the mystery of, I had this thing where I thought all business owners must be super bright and have some real special sauce, that really kind of made them different to everybody else.
Yeah.
And when I got there, I realized, you know what? It's just bloody hard work and figuring out a few bits and bobs that is really easy to figure out.
Yeah.
And it's just, the main thing is consistency and hard work.
Yeah.
That's when you break it down.
What about taking risks?
Well, you take a risk starting, don't you? When I started my business, I remortgaged my house, took a lump sum. I had 6 months worth of salary in the bank at a bare minimum. Rented an office, handed in my notice, turned up at work, and within the first week, my wife told me she was pregnant.
Boom.
And then it was 9/11. Then 9/11 happened, and the whole world went nuts. That was all in my first year, 2001.
And you survived.
Yeah.
But it
made a profit in the first year. Woohoo.
Mate, did you, when you're sitting there talking to blokes, because you mentor people and you do all that sort of stuff, and do you find there's this, and I reckon it's like 98% of them that don't even try, there's that fear of, well, hang on, I'm getting 150 grand a year to do X. I get that in the bank every month, and I feed my family and keep them in the life of luxury they're accustomed to. If I take that jump, who's going to pay me that 15 grand a month?
It's a big risk, isn't it?
It stops them from doing amazing things.
It's the biggest risk you'll ever do. I mean, during lockdown, so we've got over 170 effectively franchisees. We call them partners. We call them certified partners. And a lot of them, when they start with us, they set up their own digital agency and we help them do it. We give them everything they need. And a lot of them have got a full-time job.
Wow.
Now, here's what's really interesting. When lockdown happened, and we've got, we're a couple of months into lockdown, and all these guys are getting paid to sit at home, and they've all of a sudden they've got loads more time on their hands, and they might have had their agency for a few months or sometimes a few years and not really done much with it. We had quite a few of them that all of a sudden started getting real traction.
Yeah.
And we had quite a few of them that actually handed their notice in during lockdown.
Wow.
Because they realized, actually, I can do this. It took the mystery away. And so now they could have done it, whether it was lockdown or not. But sometimes people just need that little push.
That nudge.
Yeah. And that's what I try and do every day is I try and give people that nudge. I try and help people realize that the other side, if they graft, if they follow a process, if they've got a system and they are consistent and they never give up, they can't fail.
It's crazy because I look at some of the super successful agencies I've seen, and we've been doing this fulfillment business for 10 years. And some of the most successful ones that we deal with, apart from major corporations, right, are blokes that were in their 50s and were living the dream, right? They were, directors in companies or had senior management roles, had the expense account, flew the front of the aeroplane, did all that. And all of a sudden, boom, they were laid off, pensioned out. There was someone took over their business or away they went. And all of a sudden at 49, 52, 53, they're not got enough in the bank to stop. They've got to do something else. And those guys are some of the most successful people that we deal with. But if you would have said to them 2 years before,
isn't that what happened to you?
Mate. Oh no, I'm like you. I don't play well with others. And I've had some massive roles with massive money, but I was good for like a year. And then my use-by date was gone. I start blowing with the board and it's just, I was not that sort of person. You can give me a great role and I'll be good at it for a year. And then I start tapping my feet and I've got to get out and work for myself again, But these guys, if you would have spoke to them 2 years before they got the shove, oh no, I can't do that. Oh no, I can't take a risk. So what you said, most of them need that push. Like the mobs you're talking about, it was COVID. They're sitting at home and all of a sudden they've got time on their hands or they've got no job and they've got to make money. And then all of a sudden they realise, I can do this. It's crazy.
There's other scenarios as well. We had a guy recently actually who was a contractor and he came and looked at us in between contracts.
Yeah.
And so his choice was, should he look for another contract and go down that road or give his own business a go? And he decided to go down the route of joining us. He went on a sort of a bit of a nice holiday just to get his head together, came back, hit the ground running. Yeah, straight away in the first sort of 6 weeks, he's got 5 clients paying him recurring revenue, hit the ground running. Well, he won't look back. He won't look back. And I guarantee I'll do an interview with him like you're doing with me now.
Aye.
And he'll be saying, "Oh, we should have done it years ago."
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Always the way. It's always we should have done it years ago.
So, mate, we better move to Blam because we're talking about it. We haven't explained it. So, what is Blam? When did you start it? What was the driver behind starting it?
So, it's interesting to see what is the drive behind. I mean, I started in 2015. So I've been running agencies since 2001. I say agencies. I had one main agency from 2001, but I used to deal with big corporates. So I used to have blue chip clients like Gap and Vax Vacuums, Vodafone, these kind of guys.
Yeah.
And it was good money. It was successful. But here's the bit I didn't like. I did feel like I had a boss. Because they do treat you that way.
They do. Yeah.
And they had me running around, and they wanted me, and I tried to scale the business, with account managers and salespeople and all that sort of stuff. But I just felt the whole thing was a bit soulless,
Yeah.
because I am just not a corporate guy,
No.
I can't stand the hierarchy. I hate procrastination.
I hate
I
the
hate it when you
politics.
get your information filtered down from
Yeah,
the
it
top.
shits me. Yeah.
Oh, and it just drives me nuts. And so, although we did okay out of it, I trod water for many years with that business. As my kids grew up, I made a bit of a conscious decision to actually try and, I never missed a parents' evening, a football match, or a swimming lesson. I never missed any of that, and I
Yeah.
knew I was making sacrifices for my business.
Yeah.
But the business was doing okay, and I had some real good fun in that period. But then I started to think, as the kids started getting a bit older,
Yep.
I really need to have a go at this. And I've always been a big picture kind of guy.
Yeah.
My goal is, I want to conquer the world. I want the biggest and the best of everything. So,
Yep.
so I just thought, how do I become the biggest website builder in the world?
Mm.
Well, it's going to be pretty tricky doing that on my own, because I want to design. I'm still a graphic designer at heart, and we were building websites mainly. But how do I do it? In fact, going back to conversations we've had, I wanted to know how I could do that for small businesses, because that's where the mass market is.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day, if I wanted to build a website using WordPress or Joomla, I'm charging, in sterling, sort of 3-4 grand minimum for a really basic website. And small business owners were just like, they think twice about spending that much money.
They do.
So when we started working with the platform that you and I use now, it was a game changer. And I said, right, we need to roll this out. So we sold a load of websites to small business owners. And I had another business at the time that was doing really well, which was a franchise business. And I thought, I can amalgamate the two here. So I took I approached my best franchisee, he was a hell of a sales guy. And I said to him, I want to set up a business. We're going to call it Blam. I did go 50-50 on that one, by the way, which is another story. And what I want to do, I need to carry on running my agency and my other stuff that I'm doing. But I want to scale this business so that we can recruit people to sell for us, but under their own brand. So it's not a franchise. So in other words, there's so many people out there that are, they love marketing. They want to help people. They want to help small businesses. And that's predominantly what we do. I've been running small businesses for years. We will set them up, show them how to run a small business. We'll give them a formula, but then we'll do all the fulfillment. So when they go out and sell websites, apps, social media, all these marketing tools, we'll do the fulfillment, which means they've got more time to go out and sell.
Correct.
And so my business partner ran Blam for a few years without me, whilst I carried on with my agency and my other frivolous businesses that I was running at the time. As you mentioned, I had a pub, a brewery, a recruitment consultancy, a supercar experience businesses, a digital marketing agency, a franchise. I had it all going on. And the last thing I needed was another business that I was working on full time. But Blam was kind of my dream, if you know what I mean. That was kind of I wanted it to be my my only child, if you like. And so gradually, slowly but surely, that's the way it started evolving. I got rid of my other businesses, and I sold to my business partners, basically sold out the other businesses, and was left with my agency, a couple of other little things, and Blam. Sold the pub, sold the brewery, all of that sort of stuff. And so then I approached my business partner. I said, look, I want to come full time into Blam. And I basically merged the business. So I got rid of a lot of the big clients. I basically just said, I don't want them, moved the small ones over, merged the two, and went full time in Blam. And that would have been 2018. Yeah, early 2018. And that's when I really started getting in. Sorry?
4 years ago.
Yeah. And that's when I really started getting involved in it. And I've got to say, just love it. I just love it. I do love my business,
And how many have you got now? 147 or?
Partners.
Yeah.
So we've got, I don't know the exact number, find out at the end of the month, probably be about 170, 180, something like that.
It's 170, and how do they find you or you find them, or do you promote it?
Yeah. So we got a fairly low level marketing campaign that we generate a lot of leads. So people come to us all the time. And then I've got a team of sales guys that do all the sort of filtering out and the coaching. And well, I say coaching, I always say to my sales guys, our job is when somebody inquires with us, it means that they've got the entrepreneurial itch.
Yes.
Now, some of them might not be ready, and some of them are ready to go, and everything in between. So I always say to my sales guys, regardless of whether we can help them or not, they might not be able to afford it, or they might not be ready, or whatever it is. Our job is to leave them. Is when they leave us, whether they've bought from us or not, we've given them value.
Yeah.
Because I believe we're an entrepreneurial business at heart.
Yep.
Business is what I love, as you know. I do it for fun.
Yeah.
It's what I do in my spare time. It's what I I'm just that's just what I love doing. And I love inspiring people to start their own business if they've got the entrepreneurial itch, because so for some people, starting a business is just not the right thing to do.
No.
Some people come to us.
If you look at that 180 of them, could you turn around and could you give almost like, this is our average sort of person that will come to us? Or it's
no.
Would you bake a candlestick?
So 50% of those 180 do next to nothing.
Nothing, right?
Next to nothing.
Yeah.
This came as a massive shock to me, by the way. So I think this is a fascinating subject, because when I first got involved in franchising, I had a business model that was proven, was awesome, cutting edge, and I thought, blimey, this could conquer the world. I'm going to franchise this. I'll show people exactly what we've done. We'll roll this out. This is going to be awesome. And so I set up a franchise. I learned the hard way how to set up a franchise. That's the whole other story. But anyway, got the ball rolling, sold over 100 franchises. And then I started seeing these franchisees not doing very well.
Yeah.
And complaining that this franchise doesn't work. I'm like, this is a bit weird. I know it works. Yeah. So I started going out and visiting all these guys and going out with them, showing them how to do it myself, actually showing them how to do it myself with my couple of my sales guys, and going, there you go. Just do that. See, it does work. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah. Oh, great. Brilliant. Then it started going down again. So this was a massive shock to me. So I got involved in the Franchise Association, and I went to these guys. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And like, nothing. This is the way it is.
That's it.
This is the way it is. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And some people, when they start up in business, especially if they're buying a franchise, they think they're buying a job. They think they're going to hand over their money, and then they just sit back. I bought a franchise. The money's going to start coming in.
Hang up the shingle, and away you go.
But it is just as hard, just as hard as if you start up from scratch. You've got to work just as hard. It's just you're able to focus in the areas that are going to get you there quicker. But if you do not work hard, regardless of what business you are in, Shane, you've done so many interviews like this, name me one successful entrepreneur that was lazy.
Not one.
Not one.
Nah.
Not one. But a lot of people are.
Oh, should you? And that's why you and I are talking, all right? And we're happy and smiling because we're not lazy and we have fun doing it. Do they have to find, like, you give them the process and you give them the formula, so it's like McDonald's. If you open up a McDonald's and you follow the system, you will make a bucket load of money, right?
Exactly.
So you're basically the same. Harry Clegg thinks, I want to start a digital agency. I want to flog websites, social media, SEO, all this stuff. And I look at this blam and I go, they got the goods. They walk in, they love you, they sign up and away they go. Training program they go through?
Yeah. So just to take a step back, that experience that I had with franchisees taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about people, and about way people approach business. It taught me to have a lot of empathy.
Wow.
Because these people that weren't successful and were struggling, they're not bad people. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just they let life get in the way of their success.
Yes.
And they find reasons, excuses for why X, Y, and Z doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And so I learned to have a lot of empathy. So when I set up Blam, it was with all this experience. And that's why I set it up the way I did, because my belief is, honestly, regardless of whether it's a digital marketing agency or anything else, when somebody joins Blam, I'm going to give them the best possible opportunity to be successful with the lowest risk.
Wow.
So if they actually end up finding out that business isn't for them, it's a really low risk, because you've only really got to get 1 or 2 clients over the line with Blam to get your return on investment, because the model, depends on what you sell at. 3 or 4, we always say 5, and that way we know they're definitely going to make a return on investment. But the truth is, you can actually make a return on investment with just 1 client. However, it's not for everyone, and it's about trying to find ways to help the ones that struggle to help themselves just get that extra 1% a day that leads them to become an entrepreneur, because they would never do it on their own. They would never do it on their own.
Are you monitoring them, and you're like a coach that'll give them a call when you see they're just losing?
So I always say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So I give every partner that joins, we've got several tiers, but if they're on the elite program, let's say they get me as the coach.
Yeah.
So I give them access to my diary, and they can book in with me whenever they like.
Wow.
And then I give them my WhatsApp number, so they can contact me, and I say, as long as I'm awake, I'll respond to you.
Awesome.
And people say, oh, bloody hell, your phone must be and I genuinely don't mind.
No.
I like coaching people. I like helping people.
Yeah.
And if I'm busy doing something, then I won't respond. But if I'm on the phone or whatever, but I don't find it a chore. I don't find it stressful. I like it. so that's why I don't mind doing it. And consistently with all the partners that I've got, they are respectful, and they don't bother me unnecessarily, even though they've all got access to me. I just find that really motivating. Like I'll give you a really good example. I won't name any names, but this is the kind of thing that I do. We had a little bit of sometimes I get, when I do deals with partners. In fact, this was going back a couple of years ago. A guy joined us. He's got a full-time job. He's based overseas from us. And he's an engineer, software engineer by trade. Very cautious, very analytical. But he had the entrepreneurial itch, but couldn't find a way of doing it. So I said, well, if you sign up with us, just to reassure you, I'll do you a special one-off deal, because you're not quite sure when you're going to get the ball rolling. And I will stop your monthly payments for a year, okay, to give you a chance to get the ball rolling, and then you can work with me. Lovely guy, by the way, lovely guy. Anyway, hasn't made a sale for a year. Keeps getting sucked into his day job. Then he had to move cities, and he's commuting, and all the reasons that you can think of. So anyway, he gets in touch with me a couple of weeks ago, and he says, oh, I've just realized I've been charged for the last 5 months on my credit card for the monthly fee you told me I wasn't going to be paying. I was like, well, it's like nearly 2 years since you've signed up. It just came up automatically, and it was $3,000 he'd been charged. I said, okay, listen, no problem. We can sort this out. But listen, what have you been doing? And he gave me a story, of commuting and that. I said, are you still committed? I'm still committed. I still want to do it. We get this a lot. I said, I'll tell you what, then I'm going to give you a choice. Choice number one is I'll just refund you now, send you the money back. I'll get the team to do it tomorrow. No problem. But I guarantee we'll probably be having this conversation in a year's time.
Wow.
Just the same thing. I said, here's what I'm going to do for you. If I will put you in touch with my partner coach, and I will give you a full refund plus interest in 2 months' time if you make one sale. I said, it's up to you. You can either have a full refund now, no hard feelings, apologies. You know, we'll talk in a year, more than likely, or you can use this as an opportunity. And he went for it. He went for it.
Did he sell it?
So, well, this was about 3 days ago. This happened.
Oh, he did it though.
So he's with the partner coach, probably as we're speaking right now, or might be later on this afternoon because of the time difference. So he's going to get put on a plan that he'll have to follow. I mean, getting one sale's dead easy. You know, I've not set the bar very high.
No.
He's been listening to us and doing the training for 2 years. He's always engaging with us. He's always jumping on our Facebook Lives and everything. But something's held him back. And my job, I feel obligated to just never give up. Keep trying to find a way to get that guy to start his up, because once he breaks the seal, once he realizes, you know, it's easy when you know how, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're right. It's that, you know, here we always laugh at and say you lost your virginity, right? In everything you do. And when the kids, you know, I know that when we first start getting people as partner managers and we get them on a Zoom call, mate, they are useless, the first one. But once they get the drug, you know, they're taking the blue pill, the red pill, and away they go. And that's that guy. He'll get that one deal and his life will change.
It really will.
Around going, how easy is this? And then he's a man possessed. So you take them through, so it's almost like a constant hand-holding thing.
So we've got the certificate. So we've got certifications that we give them. So we get them qualified. So they're certified in the BLAM. So they get a BLAM certified partner. So they become certified in our system and our process, part of which you've obviously seen. Then we get them qualified in digital marketing. So we actually give them the full suite of digital marketer courses from Digital Marketer. So we partnered with Digital Marketer a few years ago. Awesome organization. So we give them all the training that they need to be qualified as a digital marketer. But that's really just the beginning. Then it's the ongoing coaching. So we get partner coach, or that sometimes is me. We've got a success manager that's all about just keep feeding them, keep layering on the support, the knowledge. Everything you asked, you know, is there a commonality? Is there a trait? Every partner is different. We treat everybody as an individual, and we try and find the hooks, the things that are going to motivate them to take the action. Like, so for some people are call reluctant. They don't like having phone calls. You know, some people get nervous about doing presentations. Some people are worried that they don't know enough to talk to somebody and they're going to come across as unprofessional. And all these other insecurities and, you know, worries that people have, we've heard them all. And we have to find, you know, the issues that they have. In some instances, they don't have any and they hit the ground running. You'd be amazed. We get some people who are seasoned entrepreneurs who may have, you know, sold their business or, you know, have other multiple businesses who hit roadblocks when it comes to running their digital agency. Whereas others, they just hit the ground running, and you never know why. You know, I always use the story of my ex-business partner, the guy who I founded Blam with. You know, when I first sold him a franchise, which is how we met, you know, if you'd have asked me if he was going to be successful, you know, and he wouldn't mind admitting this, I would have said, you know, not so sure. You know, he didn't really have any experience. He was a young guy, and he literally had to borrow money to get fuel in his car to leave the discovery day. He literally spent his last penny. He always says, you know, I gave this guy my last penny to buy a franchise from him, but it ended up working out very well for him in the long term. I'll tell you that much. But you can never tell. You can never tell. I always say to my guys, don't judge. Give value. Tell the truth. Be transparent. Don't over exaggerate. That's the key. I always try and, you know, it's probably, I under exaggerate. I want to over deliver. You know, when people come into Blam, I had a really nice text message last night from somebody that signed up last week, just saying how blown away he's been by the service, how happy he is that he's joined. And I had to poke him to join. You know, if it wasn't for my tenacity, he sent me a message on the Saturday before he joined saying, I've decided I'm going to leave it till next year for this reason, this reason, this reason. Me and my wife have talked about it, and I think, yeah, I'm not quite ready to start my own business. Well, I know, and you know, he was ready last year.
Yeah.
So I sent him a message back, just saying, look, that's fine, but this is your brain based on evolution, giving you reasons to let fear stop you from taking the leap.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can afford it. You've got the skill set. You know, you're intelligent, bright young person. There is nothing stopping you doing this other than what's going on up here.
So the top guys, what sort of amount of websites would they be selling a month?
So it's not just websites. So we do our so when I'm doing my coaching, I get them to send me their numbers. Typically, if I'm doing elite coaching, I do once every 2 weeks, a 20-minute call. And they will send me their numbers. So the guys that are doing really well every 2 weeks will make somewhere between 3 and 8 sales in 2 weeks. And that may be
mixture of
websites, SEO, social media, content writing, blog writing, you know, all the marketing mix. So and most of our products that we provide are a monthly recurring revenue. So every time a partner makes a sale, unless it's just one-off content writing, or might be graphic design services, logo design, something like that. But most of our services are a recurring revenue. So each time they make a sale, they're adding to their recurring revenue.
Right. So that's the partner. Pardon me. One of the key things for him is as 6 months goes on, as long as he's stuck to it and sold, every month he's opening up the door and money's coming in automatically anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, you can have a lifestyle business running a digital agency if you use our model, because we do the account management as well. So when somebody sells, you know, a website with social media and SEO, once they've made the sale, they gather the brief, they send the brief to us, we do the design, the build, and then our team, the client will get in touch with their client on their behalf, all white labeled.
Wow.
And then manage the project thereafter. So all we recommend is that partners just organize a quarterly review, where they can go through the numbers, go through the results. But a lot of the top packages that we offer, our team actually do monthly reviews with them anyway.
Yeah. Do they white label it, or do they go out as Blam?
No, they go out, they're white labeled, so they get their own brand. They get their own logo, their own website, and all the stuff that goes with it. But then they use the Blam certified partner as their credibility builder. So because a lot of them are on their own, they're just one-man band. You know, when we do our training, we say, look, you know, some people might be wary of you because they might think, well, what if you get too busy or you decide to go and get a job? All the stuff that can happen, you know, with small businesses. So you just reassure them by saying, look, I'm a certified Blam partner. You know, only Blam partners can sell these websites. And you know, my team is an experienced team of designers, developers, account managers, and they're going to be looking after your account. But I'm your main point of contact, you know, for any advice. You know, the Blam partner really is the digital marketing consultant. They do the consultancy, they do brief taking, and so they'll deal with future upsells. But then the actual delivery, everything's taken care of by us. And the system that I showed you, we built it to manage all of that. So it's got an inbuilt ticketing system, you know, job pipeline. It's got a vault full of all the training, and it's got an accountability software in there to keep people on track. Because accountability is key. You sat on your own, run your own business. Netflix is just there. You know, you've got to make sure you stay on track.
But it's funny because you just nailed a question that I see every bloody day. And that is, these people have got, they set up the shingle of Harry Clegg Digital Design. And when they walk in, people go, well, who's Harry Clegg Digital Design? Right? But if they say Harry Clegg Digital Design, which is a certified partner of Blam, it gives them a lot more power, credibility, and everything. And you get those people that say, oh, but I want to go out there and market myself. Well, you are. But it gives you that edge to get in that front door.
That's it.
Right.
And it's a conversation I have quite often, because people go, oh, well, I don't want them to see the Blam logo. It's going to confuse them and all of this. I say, well, if you follow the training, you can use it to your advantage. The only reason that I don't mind being quite harsh with people, I obviously love the Blam brand, so I'm very passionate about it, but I want them to leverage it. I want the work that we put into the Blam brand is to support our partners. I'm not interested in selling websites directly. No. I want an army of entrepreneurs that are all on our wavelength, that believe in what we do, supporting small business owners around the world. The websites that we build are the ideal product for small businesses.
Absolutely.
There's nothing better on the market. And every small business owner that gets a Blam website, in my view, we've saved them from a shit WordPress website.
Oh, shit, and they're not paying $3-4 grand up front.
Exactly.
With you,
no
how much
upfront
is
fee.
it? How much is
no
it
upfront
with
fee.
you?
So a Blam partner typically will sell at somewhere between, if we do US dollars, probably about $150 US a month with no upfront fee.
Yep, beautiful.
But that includes everything. So it means unlimited updates, unlimited changes. We do the lot. Obviously, it's a future-proof system. It's never going to go out of date.
No.
You get the AI built into it, so you can do all the dynamic triggers.
Yep.
You can turn it into a proper lead generation machine.
Absolutely.
So, I'm really passionate, and the reason that, the Blam partnership program is structured the way it is because I see Blam having the potential to be the biggest website design organization in the world. And every website that we sell, we're doing a good thing. And therefore, being associated with Blam is also a good thing. And my dream is, a small business needs a website. They actively seek out a Blam partner because they know they're going to get the best product, the best quality, the best support, the best service.
Who's your competitor?
Yell is probably the competitor that we come up against the most. Which they seem to have an amazing sales operation.
Yeah.
Because obviously, their reviews will testify that the quality isn't great. And so I see that as a bit of an incentive because, that they've got a lot of websites out there. But in truth, that I don't see anybody doing what we're doing to the level that we're going to take it, and that we are taking it. There's other franchises out there that do similar stuff, but they've got nowhere near as much support and back office, and
Oh, mate, as I said, I've been super impressed, and I look at stuff every day. Are they templated sites, custom templated sites, custom sites?
So what we do is we always start, and because we've streamlined the process.
Yeah.
We want to be able to help small business owner get a website up and cooking that's going to work for them as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And therefore we say that we'll build the website within 10 working days.
Right.
We start with one of the themes. So we've got loads and loads of different themes.
Yeah.
But what we say to the business owner is, look through these themes. Don't worry about what the sector, the theme is. It might be a baker's or an engineering company or whatever. Forget about that. Tell us what you think looks good, because we need to give the designer a head start. Design is so subjective. I remember this from my design days. You'll design something that you think looks awesome. You'll show it to the client and they'll go, oh, I don't like that. I don't like green, or, they'll have a completely different opinion. So the first thing we need to do is find out what they think look good. And because we've got so many different themes, it means that whichever one they choose, we know they're all commercially viable and very good themes. Yeah. But it gives us a starting point. So we automatically build that theme out. Then we take the content, and obviously when you put the content, the website structure, the images in, it will start to look significantly different from the theme.
Yep.
But at least the designer knows, well, you know, they like a darker theme, or they like that font or this font, you know, and it just gives them a steer. But as a designer, I still am very passionate about making sure that every website that we deliver looks good. Yeah. You know, I want them to look beautiful. I want to use, you know, the aesthetics are important to me. Even though statistically, you know, marketing statistics will tell you that the aesthetic of a website is not a key determiner of how successful it is.
Yeah.
And you know, look at Amazon. Amazon's a fantastic money generating website, but it doesn't look great.
No.
You know, and so I use that analogy a lot, but I still want them to look good.
But it's funny. I was talking to someone about you today, and they said that your websites are very, very good, you know, whereas in the business you're in, sometimes they can get a bit cookie cutter and bloody, you know, a bit, but I think mainly because you're a designer, your passion's there. If you look at me, I'm all about wow, call to action, and it must be a customer attraction program that people come to book or buy. And if it doesn't grab me, wham, and tell me the story, to me, it's a shocking website. I don't want things to look like an art gallery, and I don't want them to be Wikipedia. Right? I want them to get to the point, call me to action. I don't want to be entertained, but I want it to look good. And I think not many do that, mate. You know, they get into the megapixel mode. Yeah. Right. And the other thing, and this is a good question for you, if 70 or 80% of marketing and buying is done on a mobile phone, do you think we focus too much on the 26-inch screen design?
Yeah, we do. Well, I think a lot of designers do. It's interesting because we obviously get the stats quite easily about, you know, what websites are doing, and it does depend on the sector. You know, if you're in the leisure sector, if you're doing a restaurant or a pub, that kind of thing, it's got to be mainly mobile centric. You know, the vast majority of the traffic's going to be mobile. But if you're working sort of in engineering, architecture, you know, those kinds, you're going to get the vast majority of the traffic being desktop. So you've got to design for the audience. But the truth is we just do both, you know, because you can't ignore one or the other. No. It's got to look great on both. And, you know, with the platform that we've got, you've got an opportunity to be really, you know,
creative,
do a really good job on both, you know.
I think it's great, mate. You know, wouldn't believe it. We're almost out of time.
Wow, that's flown by, isn't it?
It's flown by, but I've got to ask you one significant question, which is my trademark question. I don't know if you got a tattoo.
No, I haven't got a tattoo. Okay, if I did have one, it would say Blam.
It would say Blam. But this is the question. If you had to put a tattoo on that you want to remind yourself when the chips are down, and there was, you'd put the Blam logo there, but if you had to have two words that you could
two words
that would give you the giddy up, what would be those two words?
Stay focused.
That's a bloody good one. Stay focused. I like stay focused. Next one, quick again. There's a tsunami, there's no Google, and there's no social media, and you've got to go out and start making money. How would you run your business? You still got websites.
How would I run my bit? So
how would you get clients?
I'd knock doors. Definitely. Yeah. I actually really like knocking doors.
Me too. And you know what though? When I was a kid learning how to sell, I bloody hated it. I was so frightened of it. It wasn't funny. And then I had a great man, Vince Rochella, still a friend today, lives in Vietnam. He said, Hodgie, if you went to a bar and you saw a good-looking woman, would you find it easy to start talking to her without ever? I said, absolutely. He said, every client, mate, is a good-looking woman. And I never had a problem from that day on with cold calling. I bloody loved it. Even picking up a phone, give me a phone book, and I was like Wolf of Wall Street. I was a champion.
So everything's up here, isn't it? Everything is up here,
mate.
You've just got to find the levers.
So, Grant, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate, for 1 hour.
Loved it, mate. Loved it.
Mate, I've learned more about you than I thought I knew the last few weeks. So you better flog the website. What is it?
What, Blam websites, yeah?
Yep, www.
Yeah, so blampartners.com is where you go to look at the Blam Partnership Program. So yeah, check us out, have a look on there. There's plenty of stuff on there. Check out Blam TV on YouTube.
Well, you got Blam
if
TV.
You want more of our philosophies and what we do. And you can follow me on Instagram, GrantStain.com, for my general antics and day-to-day stuff.
Awesome, mate. Have a ripper night or day with you. I'm going to go.
Thanks, Shane. Absolute pleasure, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
See you, buddy. Hey, everybody. It's Shane from TheCamel.co, and I'm here with Jeffrey. And I just want to put a quick word out. Do you know that this video is one of hundreds of videos that are available on the Camel channel? And what are the videos? There's videos on how to sell. There's videos on how to market. There's videos on how to make something. We do a great curry. You name it, we got videos about it. And we've also got a lot of videos about the special offers that the Camel has. So it's not just this thing that you're seeing now. It's a lot of information, a lot of services. You want to know more? Just click on the subscribe button. That way you don't have to search. It automatically comes to your inbox. You do that. Have a great day. From me, Jeffrey, talk to you soon. See ya.